Thank you for tuning in. This is Decreased Crimes with information so that you can make informed decisions. And my first story for today is about this right here, which you can see on the screen. Pretty much a student posts a hate statement pertaining to like an ad for a slave, and it was pertaining to one of the students. And so that student, as we can see, was putting on a probationary sentence. And so I can read this real quick and then I can play you the clip. So I'm just going to scratch this over and blow it up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. It says, well, hitting the bullet points, a teen was given probation in order to do community service after pleading guilty to hate crimes. The student posted a Craigslist ad in 2019 featuring a photo of a black classmate. The ad was labeled "Slave for Sale" and captioned with a racial slur. A student in Illinois was given probationary sentence for posting an ad on Craigslist offering one of his black classmates as a slave for sale. The unnamed male student at Naperville Central High School in the western Chicago suburbs of Naperville, Illinois, was given a 2-year probationary sentence and was ordered to serve 100 hours of community service per a statement released by the DuPage County State Attorney Office. According to the statement, the student pleaded guilty to 2 counts of felony hate crime and 1 count of disorderly conduct on September 1st. He will be required to undergo counseling as part of his probation. The incident occurred in November 2019 when the student took a photo of a black student at the school. The student then uploaded his schoolmate's photo to a Craigslist and captioned it "Slave for Sale, Naperville," along with a racial slur, per the DuPage County press release. Either student was named in the press release, but reports from the 2019 described the student as a 14-year-old white freshman at Naperville Central who snapped a picture of his classmate when they were seated at the same table at lunch. The Chicago news station WGN-TV interviewed the black student's mother in 2019. She told the news outlet the boys used to be friends until the other students started teasing her son, making fun of his skin color and saying things like "shut up, slave." Hate crimes have no place in a civil society and will not be tolerated regardless of the accused's age. Now, let's go over here to the actual Washington Post news footage. This was from 2 years ago. But I found the actual Washington Post post this article about it. So I can play it. It's just 1 minute and 32 seconds. And then we'll move on to the next story.
I saw photo evidence of it today. It's disturbing.
The Naperville Police Department was really taken aback. The chief was quoted by saying it was despicable what he saw, and we're all in agreement. We were offended. I personally was offended by the photo, and it doesn't even involve my child.
This is definitely not the first time this has happened, and it's definitely not the first time it's gone like school-wide, so to say. And so I think there needs to be more education on the part of the school.
The majority of the people in the school are currently really against what he did and really just do not like it.
our community is very welcoming and caring. These are two independent incidents and do not reflect our community on a whole.
There may be some things that people think may be isolated. I think it's a little more than isolated. If there's one incident, there's probably 10 others that haven't been reported. Just my experience says that. So I want to give us again an opportunity for us to discuss some of those things, and I want to report back to leadership within our city, within our school systems, and so on, so we can all get better for it.
Thank you for staying tuned in. And the next story is pertaining to, some people may have heard about it. It was a police officer in Louisiana who slammed a 4'8" black woman to the ground. And this is after she was attacked by a group of boys. So I wanted to do the same process with this one and read it real quick. It says it's a 3-minute read. Let's see. Let me blow it up. And then I'll play the actual footage. All right, an investigation has been launched in a New Orleans suburb after a video captured a Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office deputy flinging a 4'8" black woman just minutes after she had been attacked by a group of boys. It's unclear who captured the graphic footage, but in the clip that has since gone viral, the unidentified deputy could be seen grabbing Chantel Arnold by the wrist and dragging her along the pavement. At times, the deputy could be seen lifting Arnold up and slamming a 100-pound woman to the ground repeatedly. Witnesses say that at one point the deputy slammed Arnold's head into the pavement so hard that several of her braids ripped straight from her scalp. The NOAA report. The incident reported took place on September 20th. However, Arnold's horrific experience that Monday started well before her interaction with the deputy. The bystanders told the outlet that Arnold's slim frame and a missing eye she suffered from a prior car accident made her an easy target for those 3 boys that'll cost her minutes before the deputy arrived. The youths beat the woman and slammed her to the ground as bystanders jeered while she tried to defend herself with a stick. That attack, which also was captured on cell phone video, went on until a 71-year-old Lionel Gray ran the boys off. The New Orleans newspaper report. When Jefferson Parish deputies caught up to Arnold, who was walking home covered in dirt and in a general state of disarray, she refused to talk about the incident. Witnesses said that that's when the deputy stopped his vehicle, grabbed the woman, and threw her to the ground as Arnold frail, fruitless against the much larger man. The video ultimately ends as the deputy crouches down and puts a knee onto the woman's back. Arnold would later describe the encounter to the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office Internal Affairs Divisions I'm on my way home. I ain't made it all the way to the block. The police came out of nowhere swarming, getting me. Come here. I'm like, what's going on? I just got beat up by 2 children's. What y'all doing? She didn't have a chance to pull away because, this guy was strong. He grabbed her arm and some kind of move he made, and she went down to the ground. Gray, who is like a stepfather to Arnold, told the investigators. He added, so I was walking up to him, and he told me, if you come any closer, I'm going to kick everybody ass out here. So I said, you don't have to use that type of force on that little woman right there. She's a midget. Arnold suffered multiple injuries from the encounter with the deputy, including a busted lip and other bruising and scratches. And she was taken by ambulance to the hospital that day. Arnold is suffering, said to be suffering from recurring headaches as well. She was not hit with any charges. Meanwhile, the investigation is ongoing. And this sounds very terrible, horrible, horrible. And let's see what the actual footage right here. For one moment.
Oh, he got it on record.
How many good cops you ever see stop a bad cop from being a bad cop? I've done it many a times. I've done it. You know what I got? You know what I received? Yo, whose side you on? I'd be like, yo, I'm on the right side. The dude's in cuffs. What you hitting for? What is the problem? He ran from us. What does that mean? He ran from us. We got to tune him up. I said, what training? I didn't get that in the academy. We have a problem that needs to be addressed. And until we start having these conversations, right, until the rest of the world start having these conversations, we're always going to have this problem when it comes down to policing.
Thank you for staying tuned in. The next story is my own personal story that I was working on. There's a neighborhood that has a potential illegal, illicit or just vice industries going on, mainly human trafficking, I'm suspecting. Also, just women hate, just hate, gender hate. And so what happened was there was a very foul odor, and then I was requested upon to take a look. So as I do such and such, I ended up having to call the police. The reason why I laugh is because I was finding myself to very hard to restrain my emotions at that time. Let's put it that way. So I put up a little maze, and like, this is my own part where I can do my own investigations and tell you about it. But this is what I'm working on because I'm hoping that I can get some help from the community, and maybe we can get these keys and show other sisters, how to do the same, because I'm pretty sure if I'm going through this, is perhaps it may be other women going through this as well, and it's just not a good spot to be in for anybody. Not now, not then, not never. So what happened was I went over there trying to check out things, called the police, asked them to come do a well check. And what happened after the well check was the man became irate. He wouldn't say his name. He was just screaming, and then there's a woman there, and she looked like she was a dwarf, very, like a midget. And he said she was pregnant. They was outside sleeping in a tent in the back of a house, and she's laying on her back, pregnant, and it just didn't make sense, because people who go to a doctor versus like maybe someone illegal in the country who perhaps doesn't have access to adequate health care, perhaps don't know that you not wasn't told about prenatal care. So if they are in fact Americans, and this is just a cold hard case of neglect on him, and then you could tell he was pushing everything off on her, and it was like he's using her as a shield, and it seems to be working for him, because he's been there some time. So we're trying to get him to move and leave her so she can heal and get sober from wherever he's doing traumatizing things. She probably doesn't know which way she's going to come in. However, I do know that she may be about the bull. So either or, I don't want to act like I'm bringing in any stray animals or cats. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So, you know, I have to, you know, distance myself from the kids. It was like 8 kids in there plus, and they were all under the age of like 8, between like 3 to 8. And then there were like I said, the woman or the lady of the house seems to be the same size as the dwarfs, and she had a baby in her hand, and we couldn't tell if it was a baby doll or what that was. Anyway, you know, because it didn't have an odor. We don't know what that was. It looked like it could have been like a deceased baby. I don't know what that was. Anyway, the officers came, assessed it, you know, went through the house, and said it was one other adult male, so 2 adult males, that, you know, lady of the house, and then like, you know, 8 kids. But, you know, I watched them for a couple of hours because I noticed that I tried to work from home and there's just too much noise on one side. You know, it kind of travels. So as I observed, I noticed that there seem to be hanging out and pointing people into, you know, directions that they don't have any business doing. And so I think as Black women, we're going to have to stand up and start speaking up for ourselves more often than we probably don't want to, for whatever reason, because I know it's difficult and you kind of want our men to do things or feel like men are supposed to do it. But a lot of our men are able to play Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because if that woman is doing human trafficking herself, you know, allowing it or just a part of it, and don't really know what's going on because she's being drugged and beat, then you know, my neighbors have all been there before I came, and so I don't know if that was happening before I came tonight. I thought they said it was. So that's all I'm saying, because I really would like to move, just because it's just too much traffic over there. I hate to leave these old people without trying to stump out the, you know, crime for them, at least decrease the crime. But, you know, they're older and resilient, so if I get the opportunity to move, I would move. But I don't necessarily want to put a house up on the market type of move. But I can. I just don't want to be doing any home viewings, you know, right now. Okay. And then I was also doing a little bit of research about how to get a license to carry a gun in the state of South Carolina. So I haven't done my homework on this, but the first step is you have to obtain a background check. So background checks are not cheap, and I'm assuming that for South Carolina, it probably costs about we'll come back to this one. later on. And the last story is about a woman that I really admire. Growing up, I heard a lot about Miss Condoleezza Rice. I, as a child, was very, I really understood politics when they came on the TV, and they were just very interesting to me. And so, what I been wondering where Miss Condoleezza Rice was, she is beautifully there as I've ever remembered her. And she's given us 2 cents that we definitely need, and thank her for her level headedness. Haven't heard that term in a long while, as well as her beautiful smile and intelligent personality. So lately, Miss Condoleezza Rice is in the news because she made a comment about critical race theory, and I wholeheartedly agree with her. Critical race theory is definitely a theory for the adults, but not so much of a theory for the kids to be walking around here feeling sad about, what was set in place before they had anything to do with anything. So I will read a little bit of the article and then play the news clip. So it says here that while guest host The View on Wednesday, Condoleezza Rice offered a recommendation for Pete's, but Tiggy's newborn twins. Congratulations on your kids, said Rice, who is the director of the Hoover Institute at Stanford University. Getting ready for Stanford. It was a brief but sweet moment between Rice, the former Secretary of State who served Republican President George W. Bush, and I'm just going to say B, the current Secretary of Transportation in President Joe Biden's administration, who welcomed a daughter, I always mispronounce that name. Let me see how you pronounce it. I'm sorry. Penelope. Wait. Oops. Penelope. Sad. Penelope Rose and her son Joseph August with husband Chasten in August. B39 didn't share how his family intends to prepare the twins for college, but earlier in the broadcast, Rice shared her own thoughts on the hot topics of education, history, and race. Parents ought to be involved in their children's education, Rice 66 said. Parents ought to have a say. We used to have parent-teacher conferences. We used to have PTAs. There are lots of ways for parents to be involved, and they should be. Rice has also reminded co-host Whoopi Goldberg, Joe Bear, Sonny Hostin, and Sarah Haynes that she grew up during segregation in Birmingham, Alabama. I couldn't go to a movie theater or a restaurant with my parents. I went to segregated schools until we moved to Denver. She said, my parents never thought I was going to grow up in a world without prejudice, but they also told me that's somebody else's problems, not yours. You're going to overcome it. You are going to be anything you want to be. That's the message we ought to be sending to kids. Rice was critical of the notions that white people have to feel guilty about everything that happened in the past, and that black people have to feel disempowered by race. I would like black kids to be completely empowered to know that they are beautiful in their blackness, she said. But in order to do that, I don't have to make white kids feel bad for being white. In her view, she said the conversation about race in schools has gone in the wrong direction. I have no problem with letting people know what happened, but let's remember that history is complex, she said. Human beings aren't angels now, and they weren't angels in the past, and so how we teach about our history is always important. Ghostbird 65 made a point about why teaching the dark elements of the nation past is important. But the whole idea of teaching history is so we don't repeat it. She said, adding, there is no way to hide the fact that white people owned black people. How race and racism is taught in schools has become a cultural flashpoint among conservatives in recent months as Republican lawmakers increasingly criticize critical race theory, a niche higher education movement dating back to the 70s that they say could become more common. Advocating for a thorough and complete approach to the teaching history, we teach the good and we teach the bad, she said. Rice said on the news she took issue with curriculum that would make 7 and 10-year-olds feel that they are somehow bad people because of the color of their skin. Now we've been through that, and we don't need to go through that again. Bear 79 objected, saying that doesn't seem to be part of the plan. Oh, it is, Rice responded. I'm sorry. In Germany, they teach the Holocaust to every student, Barr responded. They learned about their history, and there are not two sides to the story. As Goldberg was going to a commercial break, Rice got the last word during the segment, saying as the orchestra music played, we all have to learn about our history, but we also have to recognize that we have to live together, and we're going to do better living together. We don't make each other feel guilty. Now, you may say, why do you like Condoleezza Rice? My mom was not like a books gal. Like, my mom was not into the books or anything like it. So I know most people wonder, where do I come from with the, wanting to hit the books. And it was kind of like because of this, seeing this woman on TV as a child. She wasn't playing the crackhead or the party girl, but the intellectual, and it was so beautiful. It was her beauty glowed, and for me, it was that this beauty is everlasting. It's intelligence. It's the inner beauty that glows, because she's the beacon of light. And as you can see, this sister has done it all. I mean, she served as the Secretary of State, and she was preceded by Colin Powell, and then who succeeded him was Hillary Clinton. I don't know if she's still, I don't know who's Secretary of State at this moment. I should know. But she served in the office for 4 years under the Bush administration. And she has a bachelor's degree and a PhD from the University of Denver, and a master's degree from the Notre Dame. And we can go over her sorry. So we can look at her how successful she is. Like, she was hired by Stanford University as assistant professor of political science. I mean, hubba, that's lots of brains. And then, look, North Korea, nuclear strategy, music. She plays with a club. I think it said she performed as a cellist. And also, here's what she says about abortions right here. She said that let's just get to the point. Say she would not want the federal government forcing its views on one side or the other. She does not want the Supreme Court decision legalizing abortion to be overturned. And she has been in exactly the right place. And then affirmative action. She says that race and gender preferences. She described affirmative action as being still needed, but she does not support quotas. Female empowerment advocacy. In 2014, Rice joined and appeared in video spots for Ban Bossy campaign, and also immigration, seeking reforms through executive action, gun rights, same-sex. She does not support same-sex. She does support civil unions, and she believes marriages between man and woman. Now, I do actually believe that, I believe that God loves the blacks, Jews, and the gays. And if I had the authority to marry, I would marry, LGBT, because a lot of them won't get any financial support if, let's say, in the couple, one of them was the breadwinner and the other one was not. So if something happens to the breadwinner, the other one is just going to be not in a good spot. So with, allowing them to get married, they have the same rights as anybody else. But because, the Bible does say that in the book, I think of Deuteronomy, like a man shouldn't wear what pertains to a woman shouldn't wear what pertains to a man. But we also know that the word tells us that everything that's been done under the sun has been done before. Excuse me. And everything that's under the sun has been done before. What that means, that's in the book of, I believe, Hebrews, where it says everything that's been done under the sun has been done before. You have to Google it if I'm paraphrasing. So don't stone me. So now I think that I know for certain that I could be living a Christian life, but there's what God sees and what I see are two different things, to where a homosexual can make it into heaven and I can be on the other end of the fence for as not getting into heaven, if that makes sense. When you look at the illustration of Jesus when he told them not to stone Mary, not his mother, but Mary Magdalene, I believe her name was. Again, I'm paraphrasing. She was being stoned for adultery, and Jesus said, well, whoever didn't sin, throw the first stone. So I think that, we all are sinning some kind of way, and I prefer to be around a transgender man than around a, what do they call it? A cisgender male who's actually on the down low. We don't want a regular, like a heterosexual guy who can play like he's Pookie or Ray Ray, but he really gay, well, sisters, we don't want those kind of guys because they will do anything. So also, and I'm sorry I went on a tangent somewhere else. Oh yeah, about the marriage, same sex, yeah. That's all. And because some men are out here beating women to death because they don't want society to look at them in a particular way and isolate them and, you know, throw rocks at them emotionally in so many words. So, you know, with that, I think if we allow gays and same sex to get married, yes, you're gonna have some people probably go ham. Yes, you're gonna have some people on the extreme, but for the majority, I think it'll help maybe save the numbers of women because it doesn't look like our numbers are really good. So the views, so in her personal life, she has no children, has never been married, and she co-owned a home in Palo Alto, California, and she's the first two women that's been admitted as members to the Masters, and she has several honorary degrees. Look at that. Can you imagine that? Man, she's popping out degrees like nothing, and she just got one like 4 years ago. She said she'll always be going back to school somewhere. She got a doctorate of civil law. This sister is wonderful. She just boom, 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 boom. Oh, wow. Lifetime learner. And this is very impressive to me. Now, she took a break right here, you see, from 95. It would be wonderful to interview her. Yes, I know I don't envy her. 'Cause envy means like you. I remember we used to talk about this in school, but I love debates. That when you say envy, like not even looking it up, but just like because you speak English, you're supposed to kind of know what words mean when somebody uses it in a sentence. They call that inferring. So envy is like evil. Is like saying like you hate them, like why they think they better than me or why they got that, they're not better than me. So I don't envy her. What I do is admire the investment she's made in herself. This is beautiful. Now I like to see what her, you know, pretty sure this little break right here she took made it worth her while to, you know, go that way with it. But here's a little clipping about her. About what her thoughts are. It's just 6 minutes long, and we'll watch that, and then we'll call it a wrap.
I come out of an academic institution, and this is something that academics debate, what is the role of race and so forth. And let me be very clear. I grew up in segregated Birmingham, Alabama. I couldn't go to a movie theater or to a restaurant with my parents. I went to segregated schools till we moved to Denver. My parents never thought I was going to grow up in a world without prejudice, but they also told me that's somebody else's problem, not yours. You're going to overcome it, and you are going to be anything you want to be. And that's the message that I think we ought to be sending to kids. One of the worries that I have about the way that we're talking about race is that it either seems so big that somehow white people now have to feel guilty for everything that happened in the past. I don't think that's very productive. Or black people have to feel disempowered by race. I would like black kids to be completely empowered, to know that they are beautiful in their blackness, but in order to do that, I don't have to make white kids feel bad for being white. So somehow this is a conversation that has gone in the wrong direction.
Have you heard about critical race theory? I'm guessing you probably have. It is already in...
I just want to step in real quick and say that I am not 110% in agreement with his critical race theory. But just for argument's sake, we can listen to his. It's probably about 5 minutes. I'm kind of up in air. you know, suit and tie and everything. I mean, it says founder of new discourses. So, for me, what I read from the critical race theory pretty much stated that the schools should acknowledge that racism exists, and due to that, unless you like a garbage man, unless you're like a basketball player, you're not going to be, you're going to experience a lot of race hate, race hatred from other people, due to not having like millions, due to not being wealthy. So even though black people go to college and get degrees, we still have a hard time getting white people to, with some companies, to give us jobs. And I want to say, in some of them defense, it's not just that they don't want to give people the job. It's just that they give people the job and they just stalking them down to where you can drive a business completely down to the bone with harassing and stalking. So I know a lot of black women, and I'm one, you know, have some kind of a delusional stalker somewhere in the works, and it's just crazy because it's hard to do anything the way it works. So I will spare you on this time, and let's just say that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and please like, share, subscribe, comment, and share this with your family. Till next time, stay blessed.